Debra Slade, a friend. She's Director of Spiritual Care at Norwalk Hospital. Debra, welcome to Health Talk.
Thanks for having me back. Welcome, Debra. So I know your specialty is pediatric chaplaincy. We're going to talk a little bit about that as we get going, but why don't you give us a general overview of chaplaincy in the hospital setting?
I'd be happy to. Chaplains are people who attend to people who are suffering in the hospital. We also attend when there are happy moments like childbirth, and we're trained specifically in listening, in prayer, if that's what's required, and just being a ministry of presence. We come to the bedside and we are there to listen and to console, to be with family, and to be with their friends.
And Debra, this is a full-time job. I don't want to make it sound like a job, but it's a full-time. I don't know whether you call it a calling, but an occupation for you, is it not?
We call it a ministry.
Okay.
And some of us who are board certified have gone through 3 years of training, theologically training. We have a Master's of Divinity. We may be ordained in a particular religion, but in the hospital we are really interfaith, so we come to people of all faiths. We also have clinical training, which we do through a clinical pastoral education course, so we get experiential training as well.
So this is a multi-denominational specialty. Do all hospitals have spiritual care programs?
Well, we would like all hospitals to have them. We do see in some hospitals, if they, for whatever reason, financially cannot afford them, we often see that in nursing homes. They may use local clergy to come in and to attend to patients of specific denominations, but I would say most major hospitals will have a department of some sort, and they'll have trained chaplains.
And what led you to choose hospital chaplaincy in the first place, and then the pediatric specialty?
That's a great question. Well, I was working in the not-for-profit field, and I was increasingly becoming more interested in my church work. And so I had the opportunity to join a program called Stephen Ministry, where I was matched up with a person who was going through some sort of difficult time. And I would meet once a week with a parishioner, and I would sit down and listen to them talk, and I really loved that one-on-one work. And then the other thing I was doing, I was going into a prison. I was working in a maximum security prison and as a volunteer, and I just saw the hospital chaplains, and I just said, I really want to be one. So about 10 years ago, I changed my career, and I went back to school, and now I'm doing this full-time, and I love it.
So first you trained as a chaplain, and then as a hospital chaplain, or as a reverend, and then as a hospital chaplain?
No, I actually did all of them at the same time. So I started off doing my clinical training in a hospital, which you can do as a layperson, and then when I knew that this was really the career I wanted, I decided to go back to school.
What are some of the challenges in terms of hospital chaplaincy versus the other areas that you've worked in the past?
Well, it can be very intense. You meet people who are going through experiences that could be the most important experiences of their lives. I mean, their loved ones could be dying, they could be dying themselves. They could have had a very serious car accident that just came out of the blue. So you're really in the midst of an important event. And so for a person who is the listening ear, you really have to be aware of your own things, what triggers your own emotions, so you don't become too emotional, but you also have to be very much in tune emotionally with the other person so that you can show compassion and empathy and kindness and care.
And sometimes I would imagine that the patient in question, even if they're able to interact and speak to you, may choose not to, but the family members sometimes will take comfort in having chaplain visit. I know we experience that on the clinical side. You know, sometimes patients want to talk about these things. Sometimes some people are more private. Do you encounter that often, or do you find that you are warmly received whenever you come into a situation like that? How is that?
Well, like any relationship, there has to be a trust between you and the patient. And so there could be some misconceptions about chaplaincy that need to be overcome. And some of those misconceptions could be that we're there to proselytize or convert them to a religion. And so obviously, which is not what we do. We're just there to be a listening presence and to provide them with resources of whatever they need. So if you have...
And don't you taper your or tailor your message to that person's spiritual beliefs?
Absolutely.
Rather than bringing your own spiritual orientation to the table?
My own spiritual beliefs often never come into the conversation directly, and we really provide just mostly a listening presence religion is not even discussed in terms of what we do. But we can provide faith-specific sacraments. Roman Catholic sacraments are provided for people who want a priest and special types of prayers. So we try to do whatever is working for the patient.
I think your presence here today emphasizes something that I'm acutely aware of, but I think we forget as people who work in a hospital, as doctors, as nurses, we go to work there every day, and it becomes rather routine to us. And yet, you pointed out at the beginning, there are great tragedies and great joys happening in every room down the hall. And I think, I really think of hospitals as, and I don't want to sound too religious, but I think they're holy places. These are places where human beings are having, I said, major transitional, transformational moments. And I think we have to recognize that, acknowledge that, and treat the hospital environment as a holy place.
That is so true, and I think that that's actually an important role of a chaplain, is to bring that to the bedside. I know I've been in cases where a person is trying to be resuscitated, and everyone is working on the patient, of course, and then when it finishes, if the person doesn't make it, then everyone starts to do the equipment, and the chaplain can say, just hold it right there. Are you comfortable? Let's say a prayer right now. This is an important moment. The person has died, and it reminds the staff of what's going on. It's not just clinical. But I certainly appreciate that the staff have to do their job, and I think can't always become emotionally invested, otherwise they wouldn't be able to. So it goes both ways, and we're there for the staff as well. That's the other message. The chaplains are there to minister to staff as well as patients.
Which is an important thing to point out, because as healthcare workers, we feel that we have to sort of rise above all that, and when you said wrong, to
But
work.
But your point, that may be interesting to people at home who may not realize that. When there is an untoward outcome, the staff is often devastated and can take weeks to recover from that. And I think people don't realize that there really is that level of, in general, that level of attachment and concern to the patients. It's not, this patient had a bad outcome, let's move on to the next.
And particularly in pediatrics.
Yeah, I knew that, and that's true. I've seen
Losing a
that.
child is so difficult, and so having some sort of a ritual for the staff to gather and to remember and to share memories is really important in terms of that.
How did you choose pediatrics? You're a pediatrician. I found it, frankly, too tragic to deal with children, and that's one of the reasons I'm an adult physician, is I found it emotionally too hard to separate myself from those. Why did you choose pediatrics for your calling, if you will?
Well, it's very interesting. My children were reasonably young when I was doing my clinical training at the Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital in Westchester, and they had just opened that year. And they were assigning the units to the chaplain students, and my supervisor said, and you'll be doing pediatrics all year. And my first reaction was, wow, I have enough kids at home. I don't need to come to the hospital and see kids who are sick and think that this could happen to my own children. And so I was really not sure that I wanted to do pediatrics. I had done work in oncology and prison, and I just wasn't sure. But like so many things in a kind of a ministry life or our lives, I said, maybe God has something for me to do here. Maybe I should just hold my breath and not say a thing and try it out. And just do it. And so I went into this new hospital, which was so pretty, with all sorts of child-friendly rooms and food and everything, and said, okay, you're here now. Let's see what pediatric chaplaincy is all about. And the first thing that I realized was I needed to do some work on the spirituality of children. What do we know about it? We know about adults because some of them go to church, they say certain prayers, and I've got that side of it. But what do kids do when it comes to spirituality? So I spent that whole year learning, really, about how to talk to kids about God and about higher powers and spirituality, hope. And it was very interesting because, as you know, in pediatrics, it's a really fun place, the hospital. I mean, no matter what's going on, and this is to answer your question, it's really not ever depressing in pediatrics. Kids have a resiliency developmentally. Things don't always sink in the way they do with adults, and so it's always a good time up in pediatrics.
But the other component, though, I think you'll acknowledge is the parental anxiety. So the children are resilient, and 98% of the time there's a favorable outcome and they do well and they go home, etc. But during that time frame, though, the parents are, a whole different.
I will frankly admit to being an impossible parent when my kids were young.
Yeah, and it's so scary. It's
frightening.
I always say that every parent comes into the hospital with guilt and fear. Guilt and fear are really always present in some form. And so for pediatric chaplains, we really have to see our ministry as family-centered.
We're running out of time, and I don't want to miss this topic. I know you were involved with counseling some of the Newtown families after the loss of their children. And could you say a few words about what that was like? I think this state is still aching for those families and from that terrible tragedy, but you were actually involved in it personally.
Yes, it was just an incredible and so sad time for everyone. A colleague and a good friend, Kathy Shepherd, who's a pastor of a church in Newtown, called me that day and said, "Will you come to my church?" Their congregation lost a child then, and she knew that people would start coming to church, and that she wanted someone who had some experience in pediatric trauma. Mm-hmm. And she also knew that as a pediatric chaplaincy, that it's very family-centered, so the parents are as important in terms of ministering to as the children are. So I came down to Newtown for that weekend, and I spent time with her community. And it was an overwhelming time, of course. People came to church in droves. On Sunday morning, the Sunday school was filled with kids. We thought maybe people might not come because of the fear of being in a classroom. And the kids, by and large, were okay. Again, children, often resilient. Parents were in shock and needed a lot of attention and had that memory of having to pick their children up, at the fire station, and that horrible fear of not knowing what was going to be there. So there was a lot of opportunity to give private prayer and assurance and counseling to the parents and to be with the kids in the Sunday school class. But what I have to say about, and this is what we tried to emphasize during that weekend, that for children, it's really important to have them feel safe and that they're loved and that they're with a community of people that love them, and to keep the routine going. Right? It's Christmas time, and the parents were saying, "Oh, we shouldn't even put up the Christmas tree this weekend." And no, put up the Christmas tree. Do the routines that your children love, because that's really what's going to help the healing, is if they don't see things changing dramatically.
It's so hard to do for the parents.
Oh, the parents.
So hard to do.
Very sad. Yeah. There will be years of healing in Newtown. Absolutely. And I pray for them.
Yeah, I think we all do. Every time I drive near the town, through the town, I live on Newtown Turnpike, I think about that awful tragedy.
In the community, they drew together so well. I mean, if there is a positive message, it's, the message of Newtown is we choose love. You might have seen that on their billboards, and that their community of faith and their whole town community have come together to help and to be with each other.
Well, thank you very much, Debra. I can't believe we're out of time already. But we're going to continue to talk about pediatric chaplaincy and children when we come back in the next segment. So we'll be back after this short break.